from New York, Mr. Ackerman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Secretary, welcome. For a moment, I'd like to focus your attention on the presidential succession crisis in Lebanon. Support for the Cedar Revolution may be the president's biggest potential win in the Middle East, and right now, that success is just 4 dead men away from disappearing. That's the remaining number of parliamentarians that Syria and Iran and their terrorist proxies need to kill in order to destroy the majority and return Lebanon to its status as a fiefdom. If losing Gaza was a disaster, try losing Lebanon. Our response here has been frankly inadequate, and I'd like to suggest the following steps to be considered urgently. First, America's commitment to Lebanon's sovereignty and independence needs to be reiterated by the President in a specific major address. Damascus and Tehran and the entire Middle East need to hear explicitly that the United States will not accept resumption of foreign domination of Lebanon, that we insist, and mean it, that foreign states refrain from interfering in Lebanon's constitutional process, that we consider the assassination of Lebanese parliamentarians as acts of international aggression, that we will never sacrifice the special tribunal for Lebanon to appease other states, and that we will push for the special tribunal to include all assassinations since Rafiq's Hariri in its purview. If a presidential statement was important for Burma, it is equally important for Lebanon. Second, the President should immediately impose economic and political sanctions against the Syrian regime, specifically President Assad and his family and his coterie of close associates. Their assets in the United States should be frozen, and their travel to this country should be barred. The very same steps should be taken against their proxies in Lebanon. The President has expansive sanctioning powers under U.S. law that are not even close to being exhausted with regard to Syria. Third, the United States needs to raise the profile of this crisis much higher. Security Council resolutions are not enough. A formal international contact group should be established with the explicit mission of protecting Lebanon's sovereignty and independence. Further, I believe the President should appoint a single figure in the United States government to be responsible for managing this crisis. Fourth and last, the House has twice and the Senate once passed resolutions supporting Lebanon and pledging our continued readiness to put our money where our mouth is. Currently, we're getting outbid in Lebanon by 2 countries whose combined GDP is just 1/3 of our national defense budget. If you believe we need more resources to prevent disaster, Madam Secretary, you have to ask for them. That support is here. Madam Secretary, I know that you and the President have more than enough to handle. Your plate is full, but there's not going to be another chance to save Lebanon. We have to act now. I've summarized these points in a letter that I will give to you, but in the remaining time, I'd like to hear your initial response.
Thank you very much, Congressman. First of all, I think that there are a number of ideas that you've cited that we've been looking at, and others that may very well be worth doing. So thank you for your letter, and we'll examine it very closely. I'm a very firm believer in the point that Lebanon is really one of the key elements in getting a policy that will promote moderation and be able to resist extremism. And we've tried to be very active in Lebanon. I would say to you that the diplomacy on Lebanon is extremely active right now. I was with my French counterpart just a few weeks ago on this issue, with my British counterpart about it just a couple of days ago. We are working also on the premise that, or on the basis that there should be no effort to make Lebanon in any way set aside constitutional processes that would lead to a president that the United States of America would consider illegitimate in some fashion. Now, the Lebanese are having their discussions, but we know who our allies are in Lebanon, and we're in very close contact with them about what is acceptable to them and what is not. The president, for instance, met with Saad Hariri just, I think, about 10 days ago. So And Walid Jumblat was just here and met with Mr. Hadley. I was unfortunately out in the Middle East. But we've been very active with the March 14th group, and we're going to stay active with them. We are trying to call attention to the fact that the Syrian and Syrian-backed forces are trying to either intimidate or literally destroy the very people who would be able to bring about a democratic solution in Lebanon. So we're very focused on this issue, Congressman. We are trying as well to make sure that the tribunal is fully funded so that it can go ahead and begin its work. Mr. Brammertz is about to make a report pretty soon. The tribunal needs to be ready to go. As to resources, we requested and received $770 million in the last supplemental. We believe that that is the appropriate amount for now. It includes budget support, it includes security support, and I would just note that if you talk to most Lebanese, when they faced this challenge up in the Palestinian camps against that sort of al-Qaeda lookalike operation, it was really American help in terms of ammunition and support that arrived with unaccustomed speed to help the military to carry out that task. Admiral Fallon was just there, Undersecretary of Defense Eric Edelman was just there. And so we are pressing very hard ahead with our allies in Lebanon, but I'm very much where you are. We need to do as much as we can because this is a crucial moment for Lebanon, and I welcome very much looking at your ideas.